Can you hear us? Hello? No. Wait, should we close this door? Good afternoon and welcome to From Where We Are, stories of news and culture through the lens of Southern California and USC. I'm Elena Stevens.
And I'm Carl Masad. We're coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center. It's Monday, October 6th, 2025.
On today's show, Barry Weiss is named editor-in-chief of CBS. USC meets with the White House. A new term begins for the Supreme Court. All that and more on From Where We Are.
But first, here are some of today's headlines. Indirect talks between Israel and Hamas are ongoing in Egypt. 2 years since the October 7th, 2023 attacks by Hamas on Israel, President Trump is praising the talks as a possible route to true peace in the Middle East. Several different Arab countries, including Turkey and Qatar, are welcoming the negotiations.
President Trump says he wants to invoke the 1807 Insurrection Act to bypass court orders and send the National Guard to Chicago and Portland. Trump has described both cities as crime-ridden war zones, while local and state leaders say this is not true and that Trump's actions are unconstitutional. A federal judge blocked the Oregon deployment on Sunday, but using the Insurrection Act would allow Trump to circumvent that order. On Monday, a different federal judge declined to block the deployment of the National Guard into Illinois.
California is suffering from a shortage of nurses due to a lack of field-related work opportunities and the inability of schools to accommodate the rising number of applicants. The most recent data shows that only a third of eligible nursing school applicants are getting accepted, triggering a state audit as well as funding initiatives.
Former USC quarterback Mark Sanchez was stabbed multiple times in an altercation with a 69-year-old truck driver in downtown Indianapolis. Sanchez was due to call an NFL game there as a Fox Sports analyst. According to an affidavit based on video footage and the truck driver's statement to police, the driver acted in self-defense after Sanchez approached and assaulted him, smelling of alcohol.
Barry Weiss will be the new editor-in-chief of CBS News Paramount, CBS's parent company, announced on Monday that it acquired Weiss's digital news site, The Free Press, for $150 million in cash and Paramount stock. Weiss made headlines herself as a critic of legacy media. Maribel Flores has the story.
Barry Weiss joining CBS marks a big shift from the network's usual leadership. She's known for being outspoken, especially when it comes to mainstream media and so-called woke culture. And her arrival has already stirred some strong reactions. She will be the first to hold the position as editor-in-chief under the new leadership of CEO David Ellison. Ariana Rodriguez, known as Diosa, is an executive producer and host of Locatora Radio. She says the move could deepen the existing mistrust in the U.S. news outlets.
But I think she is not someone that I would believe will operate in good faith because she has been so polarizing.
Weiss is a former New York Times opinion writer. She left the paper in 2021 after citing an intolerant culture in her resignation letter. Shortly after, she launched the Free Press, a media company she says is built on open debate and diverse viewpoints. Still, many are questioning what her hiring really means for CBS. Gabe Kahn is a USC journalism professor.
It seems to be that putting someone like Barry Weiss, who's a unique figure in American journalism, in this post newly created, is a signal to the administration that they are going to guarantee a certain type of coverage that is going to be either friendlier or rather skewing conservative from what CBS might have had before.
Others, including Ariana Rodriguez or Diosa, also stress the business side of it all.
So she is selling at the top of the market, but this also seems to be an effort to cement and validate her position as an opinion journalist in American journalism.
In a memo today to CBS staff, Weiss laid out her principles and core values for journalism, including journalism that is fair, fearless, and factual. Weiss has long held that mainstream media are too heavily left-wing. She said going forward, she'd like to hear from others at CBS about what is working and what is not. Barry Weiss will continue to lead the Free Press while taking on her new role.
Today, the Supreme Court returned to the bench for a comprehensive agenda that will handle tariffs, LGBTQ rights, and free speech cases. Until decisions are announced, students and the general public wait to feel their effects. Isabel Ramos Assam has the story.
The court began this term with a conservative 6-3 majority. We spoke with Duncan Hosey, academic fellow at the Stanford Constitutional Law Center, on the potential implications of the court's decisions.
The most important is that involving the presidential authority to issue tariffs. There are 3 LGBTQ rights cases before the court. One involves a First Amendment challenge to Colorado's law banning conversion therapy, and 2 involve transgender athletes. And then there are 3 cases I would say are democracy cases, a challenge to a key part of the Voting Rights Act, and then two cases that involve campaign finance restrictions.
Mosey believes the Supreme Court has been shockingly deferential to the Trump administration, with conservative justices almost routinely voting in agreement. He says he expected the conservative majority to rule for Trump quite a bit.
but the degree to which the Supreme Court has used its institutional power to bolster the Trump administration has been staggering through a series of emergency petitions in which the Trump administration has filed before the court.
The high stakes of this term and its effects on Trump's policies are expected to be consequential for students and the general public.
I would say that this term has the potential to fundamentally reshape our democracy. So, to the degree to which students are thinking about will America over the next 50, 60 years persist as this democratic experiment, a further evisceration of the Voting Rights Act, or increased money in politics, which this term has the possibility to do, will directly harm students over the long term.
District courts have shown more resistance to Trump's orders, but with nationwide injunctions often being restricted, challenging the Trump administration has proven difficult. As the Supreme Court begins its new term, Hosey has some hope.
When I look at what the court's been doing, it seems that they are really besotted with the Trump agenda. But it's a possibility that there will be some tensions between the court and the Trump justices.
The Supreme Court will issue its decisions for the important cases of this term by this coming June. For Annenberg Media, I'm Isabel Ramos-Assam.
Hey, yeah, Uber everywhere, in my cup, yeah, buy Uber everywhere,
Uber and Lyft drivers in the state of California are now allowed to unionize and negotiate contracts. Governor Gavin Newsom has signed the bill into law. Here's Julia Sumansky with the story.
Governor Gavin Newsom signed into law historic legislation that will allow rideshare drivers the right to unionize. They can now come together to negotiate for better pay and working conditions. The bill covers Uber and Lyft, and drivers are celebrating it as a major win. Nicole Moore is a part-time Lyft driver, and she's president of Rideshare Drivers United. She says before the new bill, things were tough.
We have, no basic labor rights like minimum wage or overtime or, safety protections. And we are, just struggling on a day-to-day basis to make a decent wage.
Moore says the new law is a step towards fairness in the industry, and she looks forward to the strong voice a union could provide rideshare drivers.
We want to make sure that, drivers have a choice in the organizations that, represent them. And so we want to make sure that, drivers have a vote in that and that, the contract, if we get a union and we have a contract, that it's our voices and our priorities. I mean, right now our priorities are pay, and unfair deactivation is rampant.
Rideshare workers are part of what's known as the gig economy. That is a system made up from mostly freelance or short-term contract workers. Los Angeles has the second largest gig economy in the U.S., with roughly 1.5 million workers. That makes the bill a pivotal win for workers' rights in the state. The bill comes after a major gig work law, Proposition 22, was held up in the U.S. Supreme Court last July. Prop 22 cemented Uber and Lyft drivers as independent contractors rather than employees. This excluded them from worker protections like overtime and unemployment insurance. However, with this new bill, their status as independent contractors exempts them from any federal bans on collective bargaining. The new union will aim to help drivers face the many challenges of working in the gig economy.
Basically, we're being fired by AI, and it's completely inhumane. And we do not get hearings from the companies, even though that was promised in Prop 22. That practice has to stop, and drivers have to make a dignified wage.
That could still be somewhere down the road. Rideshare drivers point out that nowhere in the bill are they guaranteed a living wage. Looking forward, a union could provide a space for drivers to voice their concerns on this and other issues, for their service that so many Angelinos rely on. For Annenberg Media, I'm Julia Szymanski.
Non-engineering students get into AI. Nicholas Lindsay went to an AI convention and has the story.
The world of AI is currently going through a bustling wild west of innovation. Since the United States government deregulated this new era of technology, students are now getting involved to participate in building this ever world of innovation. I'm currently at the AI conference in San Francisco and met Aziza Washington. She is the experiential marketing manager at Google Cloud. I asked her about her journey.
My path into tech I took a lot of courses on Coursera. I used training models to learn more about so what I used was I did research a lot of roles that I was interested in, and I took out these keywords and I put them into tools like Gemini or ChatGPT and asked for an opportunity or asked for a prompt that would tell me what journey or roadmap I would use.
Barry Duvall is a support engineer at ToberLife.ai working on robotics. He was originally a biotech major in college and made a move to robotics after a lack of funding in the biotech sector from the United States government. After being at ToberLife.ai, he spoke to me about what type of students can engage into the robotics AI world.
You can take all sorts of different paths as your background. We have excellent roboticists that are, mechanical engineers, computer scientists, electrical engineers, even people coming in from other various science backgrounds and especially physics backgrounds. So having a little bit of knowledge in a wide variety of subjects is incredibly valuable, especially in robotics right now.
Lastly, I had a conversation with Austin Mejia, head of AI for Google Pixel. He has crafted his own journey while at Princeton and is currently one of the leading professionals in the AI industry for wearables. He also told me how he figured out there was a new space for him to lead AI for the Pixel Watch.
I ended up finding this opportunity to come over to the watch, and I had assumed at the time, I really like Pixel. Someone's probably already leading and doing work with AI on watch, so I'll just figure out who that person is and I'll try to work with them as well. Long story short, no one was doing AI on the watch. I quickly realized everyone thought it was someone else. And I saw such an immense opportunity to really advocate for why we needed to be having a more focused view on that and how we could achieve it.
Whether you're a coder or a creative, a historian or a philosopher, the experts at the conference made it very clear we can all be a part of the future of tech and AI. For Annenberg Radio News, this is Nicholas Clemens Lindsay, technology correspondent.
And please tune in again to ARN tomorrow, where our featured guest is the nation's first ever second gentleman, Professor Douglas Emhoff with USC's Gold School of Law. In his first interview since last year's election, he spoke with us about his experience in the White House, his wife, former Vice President Kamala Harris, and about surviving last year's brutal presidential campaign.
I would get angry and she would really try to talk me down if they were attacking her. Then they started attacking me. Then I was like, what are they attacking me for? I'm just your spouse, but that's what it is.
Tune in tomorrow for all this and more on From Where We Are.
And that's all we have time for on today's From Where We Are. Natalia Fierro Gomez and Amy Contreras produced today's show. We had help from Nicholas Corral, Avi Singh, Isabel Ramos Assad, John Millsap, Yinjen Wu, Sarah Alvarez, Julia Szymanski, Angelina Lovato, Maribel Flores, and Kai Assad.
Our board operator is Grayson Salomon, our live stream manager is Kayla Zhu, and Derek Renfrau composed our theme music.
Catch us live on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Subscribe to From Where We Are wherever you're listening right now. Finally, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio. I'm Elena Stevens.
And I'm Carl Masad. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us again for From Where We Are.
So it's fall now. What are you doing to get cozy, Carl?
I mean, honestly, I don't think I can say that on air, Elena. I mean, it can get pretty intense where I'm from. What about you?
Probably just a pumpkin spice latte.
Oh, okay. Now it's awkward on air.